Hey everybody. So for those of you who've been watching my channel for the past 2 or 3 years, you probably know that, of course, when Windows 11 was announced, and more importantly, when Windows 11 system requirements were announced, y'all basically know that I have been super critical of the Windows 11 system requirements. Back in 2021, I shot the very first video in this new home, well, new to me home. It was when the home was still technically under construction. It was hot outside. I didn't even have power, so I didn't have air conditioning. I was sweating my tail off standing right over there. I mean, you'll see the vent up on the ceiling. That might give you a clue where I was standing. Talking about Windows 11, how Windows 11 could be the next Windows Vista. And the biggest reason for that was the ridiculous minimum requirements that Microsoft was stating you needed to have to run this OS. Now in 2022, once I got finished with the home project, at least where I was able to move into the new home, and of course I resumed shooting videos here for QCrew channel, I started to cover Windows 11 hands-on. And keep in mind, none of the computers I had here at the time met the minimum system requirements from Windows 11. The first system I installed it on was that system down there in the floor. Yeah, that one there. That one has former MidTower Deluxe Blackmax hardware in it. It's got an AMD A6 6420K APU set up, overclocked to I think it's 4.6 GHz. It's normally a 4 GHz APU. It now has 4 GB of memory because I stole the RAM out of it and installed it on the QCrew Plexi. But at the time I had 8 gigs of RAM. Has a 250 gig SSD, onboard or integrated APU graphics. So, not a super high-end machine. And we're talking about a system from 2013. Has SecureBoot but not TPM 2.0, and of course the CPU is definitely not on the support list. But lo and behold, when I used Rufus to modify the Windows 11 installer, Windows 11 installed and ran beautifully on that system. And that really got me thinking, these requirements, they're elite class. So that's why I started calling them the Microsoft EliteClass system requirements on Windows 11. No, Microsoft does not officially have a trademark or wordmark called Microsoft EliteClass, but here on QCrew channel, when you hear me say Microsoft EliteClass system requirements, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and that is requirements that Microsoft come up with to run Windows 11. And I call them EliteClass because, well, those requirements are significantly higher than what you really need to run the OS. Now, the reason Microsoft made those requirements so high was what they claim to be for security purposes. Microsoft has a history of inflating Windows system requirements but not enforcing them. Now, to be honest, the Windows 11 system requirements, you can easily get around them, and Microsoft even has ways. They even post how to get around those requirements. If Microsoft was really concerned about people installing the OS on systems that don't meet the EliteClass system requirements, they would be shutting down companies like Rufus or the vendors or the software writers or authors of Rufus for publishing software that would circumvent those requirements. But then again, we're not pirating the OS, we're just installing it on systems that don't meet those minimum requirements. And probably Microsoft would, I don't know if they would go this far, but who knows, maybe they will be taking down YouTube videos about like showing you how to get around those requirements, but Microsoft has not really done any of that. Now, I should mention, years ago, this channel here was a victim of a false copyright strike from Microsoft over something that had nothing to do with piracy. And I'll put a card up in the corner, or it might be just over here. Yeah, check that out. That was from like 2012. But yeah, the thing is, though, Microsoft, they've pushed these requirements out, and when you don't modify your registry on your Windows 10 computer, or you don't use Rufus to mod the installer, you're very limited on what you can actually install Windows 11 on. Now, supposedly you could clean install Windows 11 on a lot of different stuff without modding the installer, but I never actually tried that for sure, because all my installers, when I write them, I use the Rufus utility, and of course I bypass the EliteClass requirements. But I mean, the thing is, computers, for example, like my system, the Computer MidTower Deluxe, it's basically running 2017 hardware in it. I upgraded to that platform around the years 2018. It's a Ryzen 7 1700X system. It has now 32 gigabytes of RAM. Used to have 16 gigs of RAM. It's got a 1 terabyte SSD, Radeon RX 550 graphics. It supports SecureBoot. It can support TPM 2.0. But due to that Ryzen 7 1700X not being on the official support list, that system does not meet the Microsoft EliteClass Windows System requirements on Windows 11. It runs Windows 11 though. I have Windows 11 installed right now, and I say it runs Windows 11 very well. Another example be my parents' computer, the MidTower Deluxe Black Max. It's currently running a Ryzen 5 2400G APU. I think it has either 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, 240 gigabyte SSD, along with an extra hard drive for data storage. It's using the Radeon graphics that are on the Ryzen 5 2400G APU. That system also supports SecureBoot. It supports TPM 2.0. But because that CPU not being on the official supported CPU list, that computer does not meet the Microsoft EliteClass Windows System requirements on Windows 11. Now, that computer, as of this video, still has Windows 10 on it, but I've already spoken with my mom, who uses the computer most of the time, and I told her I do plan to actually put Windows 11 on that system in the coming months. I will be putting Windows 11 on it sooner or later. Who cares about the requirements? I mean, now I have talked about stuff like this in a previous video, and I plan to talk about this in a new video, whether you should install Windows 11 on systems that do not meet the minimum system requirements. And there's a few scenarios you have to consider on that, but anyways, that's for another video. But so yeah, that computer, which runs blazingly fast, runs Windows 10 just fine, and could run Windows 11 just fine. It won't officially support it because it don't meet the EliteClass requirements. Case number 3 is this laptop right here. It's a HP, I think it's Pavilion 15 laptop. It's a pretty cheap end machine. Not a showstopper by any means. Barely can run 1080p YouTube. And you can see right there it does not meet the Microsoft EliteClass Windows System requirements for Windows 11. For one reason and one reason only. Like case 1 and case 2, the processor. You can see it supports SecureBoot. It has TPM 2.0. Has 4 gigabytes of memory. It has at least 64 gigs of storage on the system disk, and it has 2 or more cores, and it's at least a 1 gigahertz or faster processor. Now, this computer is, like I say, not all that spectacular. It does have a solid-state drive that was installed aftermarket. Now, the funny thing is, this PC Health Check application claims this PC is only 3 years old. However, this is like a 2016 laptop. It's just going off of the system BIOS date. Apparently, this computer had a BIOS flash installed on it. You can see how long it took just to pull up system information, or at least show it in the search results. But so HP 15 notebook PC has the Celeron N3060 processor, which from what I had found online was released either late 2015 or early 2016. This computer, in fact, was manufactured, I believe, in 2016. So it shipped with Windows 10, more than likely, obviously. The BIOS date on this machine is April 29, 2020. I think this computer was refurbished by a reseller and sold to a neighbor of mine. It quit working on them at some point, and they just gave it to me. Turns out I think it was either bad RAM module or the RAM module wasn't properly seated. I put a different RAM module in and it started working. So I've used it here as a demo unit. Not that you would really want to put Windows 11 on something like this, but this is another case of a computer almost meeting, but not quite meeting the minimum requirements for Windows 11, as I call here the Microsoft EliteClass minimum system requirements for Windows 11. So, yeah. It's just another example of why I think these minimum requirements are just ridiculous, and how they could possibly create an e-waste nightmare in the coming years. I mean, here we are, close halfway through 2023. I mean, the thing about it is, for those who refurbish computers, like for example, I got these Optiplex 390s back here that I'm going to be selling soon. I've been saying that for like forever, but I need to sell them because they're getting in the way and they're not doing any good sitting back there not getting used. So those systems I've already bought the memory for them. They're getting 8 gigabytes of RAM each. They're also going to be getting 5 12 gigabyte SSDs, since I can get those now for like $20 a pop. So I have 10 machines, so that's what, $200 and change plus tax for SSDs for the things. I might sell them for maybe $100 a piece. I don't know. Haven't quite decided on price just yet, but the thing is, I can put Windows 10 on, but that's kind of a hard sell, saying, hey, this computer will only officially receive updates for 2 years. I mean, come on. That's kind of ridiculous. And I mean, these computers, they're from 2011. I think they have Sandy Bridge i5s in them. I think the i5 2400 or something like that. And I've actually installed Windows 11 on them before. Now, granted, the case scenario of testing Windows 11 on those systems, the last time I tried it was with a hard disk drive, and I do have a video up here on YouTube, and I plan to shoot another video when I try it with the SSD, and I'm pretty sure that Windows 11 would run fantastic on that hardware, but yet it won't officially meet the EliteClass requirements. So, again, of course, nowadays, Windows 11 has been out for 2 years, and of course, those minimum requirements, I mean, they're not as, I guess, now that we've gone 2 years later, those requirements may not seem as steep, but you have to think about it. Back in 2021, I mean, case 1 and case 2 examples are systems that were using 2017 or 2018 hardware. I think it's ridiculous that a computer that was at the time 4 years old, or even just 3 years old, could not officially run Windows 11 because it didn't meet the requirements, because let's say the CPU was not on the support list. That's why I'm so critical of these minimum requirements, and why I call them the Microsoft EliteClass minimum system requirements, because those requirements, they're EliteClass. It's ridiculous. And of course, Microsoft EliteClass, again, is not an official Microsoft trademark. Who knows? Maybe I should trademark it. Maybe I could go to Best Buy and walk down the PC aisle and see a poster saying Microsoft EliteClass certified PCs. Who knows? Maybe they should trademark that and call it the Microsoft EliteClass minimum requirements for Windows 11 and the Microsoft EliteClass certified PC. Who knows? Anyways, that just about wraps up for this video. So in case you wondered why I am so critical of the Windows 11 system requirements and why I call them EliteClass requirements, that's why. It's just not good for PCs in general, because I mean it's kind of a ridiculous move by Microsoft. I think part of the reason why they're doing it is not just for security, is to pad the pockets of Hewlett-Packard and Dell and companies like that, Lenovo, PC OEMs, trying to boost PC sales following the pandemic, because back in the pandemic there was a huge demand for PCs, and of course after the pandemic, I'd say things have calmed down as far as PC sales, and I think Microsoft Windows 11 was the answer to try to get PC sales back up by requiring these artificially high requirements, basically ruling out the majority of computers out there running Windows 10 as not EliteClass, saying you need to either upgrade your system or go buy a new computer and trash that computer that does not meet the EliteClass requirements. You get Windows 11. And I think that's one of the reasons why Windows 10 still has such a high usage share. And again, as I think I stated, how Windows 10 is like the new XP and Windows 11 is like the new Windows Vista in a way. So, yeah guys, it's ridiculous. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video from Cuckoo channel. If this is your first time, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to tick the bell so we get notified of new video posts. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, and share this video as well as the channel with your friends and get the word out. Also, I have a second channel, that's CubeCompMTDX. Over there you'll find videos about thunderstorms and weather, cycling, and videos about me personally. Feel free to subscribe over there as well if you like. Again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for your support.